David, pressed for time, still does the full 30-second intro.
I know it does. Well, that's a way to go. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome into the Triple Play Fantasy Football Show, a proud member of Empire Media and the Empire Media Podcast Network. D. Mendy here, of course, joined by the sexy voice you already heard. That is Johnny Foosball. John Van Etten. John, I got to know, do you now fear the deer?
Oh, yeah, but sexy voice, that's Brad. Why'd you use
That's true. You're right. I
I
am giving you the wrong title there. But I will get to the sexy voice in a second. Of course, you also know the regular part of the crew here that is almost no longer homeless. It is the Doc, Eric Mendelson. What's going on?
Yo, come this Saturday. I'll have a home. I'm looking forward to it.
And good Wi-Fi, because you'll probably get kicked out of the pod a few times, I'm sure.
Yeah, I have a backup one ready, so we're Gucci.
All right. And then, of course, the voice that you heard also, the normal part of the crew here rounding it out, the guy who always asks the right questions. It is the Brad Stradamus, Brad Kilgore. What's going on?
I got a question for you. How do we feel about ASMR? I got some meatballs and Brussels sprouts here. I feel like I need to eat.
Brad, every time you talk, it's ASMR, buddy.
Oh, wow. You guys are too sweet. Too sweet.
All right, well, we got a lot planned for you guys today, and that has to start with introducing...
But you didn't answer my question. Can I eat on the pod?
I mean, you do you, bro. I'm not going to stop you.
I love it. In the chat, if you don't like it, let me know. I don't want to ruin anybody's experience here.
All right, well, I got to introduce everybody that we got here. We got a big cast of characters here. Our first guy we got introduced, he is a long friend of ours. First place in his 2016 Champions League fantasy football league. The man that is on the Tequila Wall of Fame in your local burrito palace in Baltimore. A man that says all the right things. He actually coined the phrase today that if it was his own funeral, he would still be here. It is the man, the legend, Nick Loisel. What is going on, my friend?
Yeah, I'm honored for the first intro. And also a quick shout out, David, you and I, same burrito place, podium finish at the competition.
We did. Third place. We
That's right.
each ate our burritos in under 5 minutes. It was legendary.
That's right.
If they used brown rice instead of white rice, David would have finished it because it'd be healthy then.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He finished. This year we'll do it even quicker.
Oh yeah, for sure. Our next guest joining the pod, he scouts every Major League Baseball and minor league baseball player with his eyes closed. Only gives bad fantasy advice. 10K 5-star reviews on Yelp. He also is the master of the one-liners on Twitter, making his debut on his first podcast. It is JP, aka Dap Scout. What's going on?
Hey guys, really happy to be on here.
Yeah,
man, I just got to tell everybody, I know the first thing that everybody's going to see is like, oh my God, it's two Davids. And we get that all the time. We're twinsies. And the left field aren't going to know this, but the way David and I met actually was about 5-6 years ago. I don't know if you want to go into this whole thing, but we used to be in the same circuit. We were always competing against each other and constantly would get like, oh my God, it's, are you David? Is it JP? It's me. And so just to show you how much we look alike, I mean, look, you could kind of see it, right? You kind of see how the resemblance, it's very similar. So yeah, I'm glad to be on here. It's great to see you again, man. Thanks for coming through yesterday at the Walmart and getting me to come on.
Hey man, anything for you. Long overdue to get you on here. Got to introduce our next guy here. He is a husband, a scientist by day, fantasy football analyst by night. I didn't even know he was a scientist. That's really cool, actually. He does projections and rankings, and he's host of FF Diagnostics and Liftoff, the New York Jets, Gridiron Ratings. The man is everywhere. The Diagnostics is what I know him for because he helps solve all those problems with your fantasy football leagues. The man that says, my name is not Junior, it is JR, Mr. John June, a.k.a. JR, football nerd in the house, adding to the stream. What's up, man?
What is good, people? What is good, Mendy? I don't know if I could ever come up with any intro as good as the intros you're slinging out here today, brother, but I definitely appreciate being here with the Triple Play Fantasy Group. I mean, you guys do phenomenal work. You guys are phenomenal people. So definitely going to relish this opportunity, and let's have some fun mock drafting today.
I mean, I appreciate the words and long admired all that you do. And I'm really pumped to have you on the show today. And hopefully you don't snipe any of the guys we've got playing in this mock draft. So
I got your my guy list right here.
Oh, man, I have to try. Oh, damn, that's not good. All the stuff is out there. All right.
That's who you're steering clear from. So
yeah, there you go. Our next guy we got to introduce in here is Mr. Fantasy Football, the president of the Deontay Johnson Fan Club, host of the Fresh Fantasy Podcast, one of the best up and coming fantasy football podcasts out there. He's a writer for the FF League Winners. Again, this man is a host extraordinaire. Just interviewed Stefania Bell on his show today, and you'll be able to check that out tomorrow. The man does everything. It is Alex Caruso, not the Lakers guard, but the fantasy football analyst. What's going on?
That's a killer intro, man. I appreciate you having me. Yeah, I had Stefania on the show today. She was absolutely fantastic. I followed up just like you did. So no, it was super blessed to have that, and I'm happy to be on here with you guys.
Hey, again, pumped to have you. You're one of the best up-and-coming people in the game, one of the best hosts that people need to know. So pumped to have you on the show. And, of course, got to introduce our last drafter that's in the room with us today. And it's a special guy. So special, I'm going to make him wait another second in suspense. He is a husband, a girl dad, an analyst for Razzball Football, an expert ranker for Fantasy Pros. He is part of the Wrestling Mat. He's a former abridged film critic. Heck, this man is never wrong because he's always Joey Right. It is Mr. Joey Right in the house. What's going on, man?
Hey, how's it going? Thank you so much for having me on.
Hey, pumped to have you. And again, great fantasy football mind. Long overdue to get you on the show. Happy to have all you guys on the show. It's definitely something I'm going to do my best to navigate. We've got a lot of smart people, a lot of people that know their stuff and are outwardly spoken on their opinions. And what?
And then me.
And then John, of course, rounding it out. I like Doc without his picture there. I know he's sending something in the text thread. He probably can't turn his camera on, but that's all good.
He's doing it, Jeffrey Toobin.
You know what? Can you guys hear me okay?
It's like, it's kind of off-putting. It's like an AI's talking to me or something.
Yeah. Got to use the work computer. Who cares if they see my what I do?
I'll edit that out, Doc, so you don't have to worry about them.
There we go.
None of them listen to the pod. It's okay.
I will have to acknowledge, of course, we also have Mr. Zach Attack, FF Chalupa Batman, host of the Tripwire. He writes everywhere that's anywhere on fantasy football Twitter, part of the Scott Fishbowl, of course, Razzball. He's also a Keto member. He's also going to be drafting with us, but not in the room talking with you guys today. So everybody's been introed in here. Got a great crew. Oh,
Let's
man,
get
that's
to drafting.
Yeah, that's right. Well, of course, we got our 10-team mock draft today. It's going to be exciting. Of course, make sure you stay tuned for that. No question or game this week as we have a full house. Cue Danny Tanner. And we want to make sure that we get this full mock draft in. So if you guys are ready to get another episode started, then, man, we're here to do it for you. Let's do it! Yeah! All right. So usually we're going to do news and notes very quick here. We're going to try to touch the NFL news that's
everybody gets a say, David.
I don't think we have time for this.
All right. Well, we're going to do the Cliff Notes version. All right. So we got to start with Aaron Rodgers, who has had a tentative agreement to rejoin the Packers for 2021. Who knows what's going to happen in 2022? He's going to have concessions. So there's a lot of different things there. Basically, a la Tom Brady, he's going to have the choice if he wants to leave next season to go anywhere he wants. So that's a long story short. I'm only going to ask a couple of you guys here. I'm going to ask Mr. Joey Wright, what are your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers? Are you, do you think he's bound to Green Bay after this season? Do you think he's going to come back after the season? Pass catchers, Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers, or Aaron Jones, I'm assuming the value you were hoping that you were going to get from them. What are your thoughts about all this?
So Rodgers was the only one when all the news broke that I didn't move in my rankings. I kept him as QB8. I'm happy with him there. I have him right behind Russell Wilson, but I definitely moved up Aaron Jones to RB5, and then Adams I put right behind Tyreek Hill at wide receiver 2. That's in redraft because I do think it's probably Rodgers last year in Green Bay. With everything going on, I don't see how he stays with even to go through that another offseason. Yeah, I don't think so.
I like it. I definitely don't disagree with that. I think it is kind of interesting because I don't think it's hot takey by any means, but I think a lot of people, I'm sure, put Davante Adams back to number 1 with Aaron Rodgers back there. You keeping Tyreek Hill there is kind of interesting. Do you think? I mean, Tyreek Hill's obviously been a consistent performer over his last few seasons, but you're confident that with the expected touchdown regression for Davante Adams, that will keep Tyreek Hill there at number 1?
You got it.
All right. I like it. So let's touch base on another bit of news here. Michael Thomas is expected to miss the start of the Saints 2021 season. He underwent ankle surgery in June. It's going to need about 4 months to fully recover. Expected to maybe be back after the Saints bye around week 7, week 8 or so. So just keep an eye on that. Mr. John June, what are your thoughts on Michael Thomas? Do you think, where are you drafting him first? What round do you think you're going to look for him in? And are you going to target him in any of your leagues?
How did I know you were going to come to me with this question? Honestly, I if I had to draft Michael Thomas today based on the information that we have, probably be looking at like round 7 or round 8, maybe in that range. I mean, if he's not expected back until week 8, it'd probably be even later than that, maybe like round 10, actually, now that I'm really thinking about it, because wide receiver is so deep and there's so many guys that I could draft. And so why take a guy who I'm going to miss 8 weeks for? And it's not like we're getting – and granted, I've been probably one of the biggest proponents of this, which is Michael Thomas is going to be fine regardless of who the quarterback is. But that's just another variable that gets thrown into it, right? It's like, okay, well, he's got the ankle injury. And then it's like, okay, well, he's got to adjust from the quarterback. And then it's like, okay, well, he's going to be 8 weeks of not being in the offense. Like, how is he going to feel week 9, week 10? And so I think with all those questions, I'm probably out on Michael Thomas.
All right. I like it. And honestly, yeah, unless he slips to an insane value right now, you have to be worried because he comes back. Maybe he's rusty for a couple games. You don't know which quarterback's throwing him the ball. We know Johnny Foosball is a huge Taysom Hill guy. And
they got to put him out wide now. They got to put Taysom Hill out wide now.
There you go. Yeah. Last bit of news we will talk about here. There's a lot of news, but we're not going to do all of it. Sean Watson's reported to camp. Reportedly, the Eagles and Miami have been tied to him. I got to know, Alex, do you think he gets traded somewhere? Do you think he plays this season? What are your thoughts?
That's a great question. I don't think he gets traded. I think until all these allegations get solved, we never see guys get moved when stuff like this is happening. So until the allegations are sorted out, he gets suspended, doesn't get suspended, we'll see. I think that's the time when he gets moved, but I don't see it happening during training camp. I think he's showing up until the commissioner exempts him, but I don't think he plays this year.
Yeah, it's one of those things we're going to have to keep monitoring, and we'll hopefully get answers before the majority of our drafts come at the end of August. So it's one of those very polarizing players that sometimes is going undrafted. People are, I know in Scott Fishbowl, we're getting him kind of at the round 8, 9, 10, for obviously the upside he'll give. But we'll have to see how that plays out. It's going to be interesting.
Will someone please let the legal process go through so David knows where to draft the guy? Come on.
Right. But yeah, of course, other news you can check out if you go on to your local internet and check it out. But if you enjoy hearing all these great voices, make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button wherever you find your podcast. And if you want to hear more Triple Play.
Sorry, did you say local internet?
Yeah, your local. I don't know.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
all right.
Your boy's your boy's trying to.
My local internet gives me rolling blackouts. I don't know about you guys.
just a mom and pop internet shop.
Check out the fantasy baseball and basketball podcasts from the Triple Play Network here. Give us 5 stars if you enjoy the content. We greatly appreciate it. The website, YouTube channel, all that great stuff. And if you enjoy the podcast, that is Triple Play. Remember, we won't kick you out of bed in the morning. So that's just what we do here. Look no further than us, because I'm telling you, we just might change your life, and we have to pay the bills. So if you're watching the live version, we're sticking here. Podcast version, it's time for a commercial break so John can put that in the edit. Here we go. It is draft time. And as you can see, I have our 100-yard dash to determine the draft order. And just to save time, whatever the finish that your person has is where you're drafting. Is everybody okay with that?
I absolutely love this thing.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I know you do. You don't get ads for it.
This is awesome.
Okay, so am I shuffling it at all, or are we just rocking and rolling?
Don't shuffle, just rock and roll.
All right, no shuffles. This is why I put this up there so you guys didn't see.
I consider myself a little bit lucky, so give me something.
All right, we're going to do seconds per rush. We're going to move the speed as we'll do it faster. All right, here we go. Draft order. 3, 2, 1.
Oh,
Nick off to
Oh,
a
look at that.
Foosball, come on!
Oh, Doc.
What are you doing?
Holy crap. My guy's just, I'm going to have last pick, but that's, there we go.
Wow.
This always happens to me.
Come on, Doc. Come on, Doc. Go off the wheels.
Doc pull a hammy.
To pick ahead, David, I just want to beat him in the race.
Yo, let's go.
Wow. How did I get third, man? John must have just pulled up lame.
Yeah, no grit from my guy to start off fast and then just.
This is what you
Wow.
not
Come on,
in the
Dad.
live stream for Lupa
I'm going to
Best.
speak up on so Zach
So
mentioned this to me. Zach entered to be on the Clem Portis interview, and his guy finished last in that too. He said, I literally finished last in every single 100-yard dash I've entered in. So it just holds true here. So I'm going to put the draft order in right now as this is going to be great podcasting here.
Indeed.
Oh, you should have been doing the news and notes while you were doing this, David.
I know.
Hindsight.
So you guys read me the draft order. Alex is 1. Who's 2?
Me.
Doc.
No, Doc got second pick. That's a drag.
Jealousy.
All right, who's 3rd?
Dash.
Yeah.
Dap's 3rd. Who's 4th?
John without an H.
John is 4th. And then I think Nick, you're 5th, right?
Right.
And Brad, you were 6th.
Yes, sir.
And who was 7th?
Joey.
Joey's 7th. And who's 8th? John?
You.
Oh, I'm 8th. John's 9. FF Chalupa is 10. We should be set. Draft order is in. All right. It is saved. It's updated. I'm going to now get rid of the 100-yard dash screen, and we are going to now put up our mock draft screen. Luckily, your boy has some technology skills here.
Oh, I don't have the logo on my forehead anymore? Oh, darn.
You should get a tattoo. That way I'll never leave you.
All right. Can everybody see the screen?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Such a teacher move, David. Can everybody see the screen?
There you go.
Your boy is a teacher on the side, so
On the side.
On the
On the
side.
side.
On this side.
the draft board is up. 30 seconds per pick. A 10-team PPR mock draft, 12 rounds. For those that haven't mocked, we're popping your 2021 cherry. For those that have, well, it's your first triple play mock, so you're popping your cherry anyway. Draft order you saw was randomized, so you can get the best team. Are you guys ready to draft?
Let's do it.
absolutely.
Heck yeah.
Let's
All
do
No,
it.
don't
Yeah.
you dare. Don't you dare. All right. Draft has started. Alex, you are on the clock. CMC shocker off the board. Eric says
Michael Thomas would have been a sneaky pick.
Eric says he does not like Dalvin Cook, and he goes Jonathan Taylor. That's his. He's been sticking by it all
Oh,
season.
that just changed everything, man. I was ready to go.
Dalvin Cook falls to 3. Saquon Barkley by John. So now you're not scared by the Saquon Barkley news at all.
Wow.
Look, Joe Judge comes from the Belichick tree. There's no reason for anybody to talk about Saquon Barkley's availability in July.
All right, I like it.
Brother,
Wow.
you're ambitious.
Ezekiel Elliott, Travis Kelce, which leaves me. Oh man, which running back do I?
Wow. I guess Deshaun Watson's going next.
Well, this is interesting because it's full, this is full PPR. So Derrick Henry does take a hit in this format. So does Nick Chubb. You know what? We're gonna get a little crazy here. This is full PPR. Friend of the show, going Austin Eckler.
There you go.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
You can
How
never
much
go wrong with
cursing
picking
is
friend of
allowed
the
on this show?
I got to do that. Full PPR. Austin Eckler is going to eat as long as he stays healthy. I'll
Friend
take
of
that
the
there.
show. Friend of the show plug is electric. I like how you threw that in.
Wow.
So at the turn there, Zach went Derrick Henry and Tyreek Hill. Not a bad way to go. John took Devontae Adams, and I'm gonna double up here. I'm gonna go Aaron Jones.
Oh,
With-
you took
with Aaron Rodgers back there, I will take an Aaron Jones, Austin Eckler start. Both guys that should be involved in the passing game a lot for each team.
I thought you were going to say both guys that should be on the pod.
I mean, I'd love it. Aaron Jones, if you're listening.
They're both friends of the pod, don't you know? Come on.
David Montgomery. Brad, you are high on David Montgomery. I know that.
Oh yeah, man. They're gonna bring Tariq Cohen in very slow, and David Montgomery was a monster. You know, last year he finished RB6, and he's gonna get that same workload this year. I love him. I think he's way too low.
Wow.
John going Najee sniping Mr. Dap Scout. John, are you high on Najee? Where do you have him? I guess right now he's the top 12 running back for you, which is where I have him. You think he finishes in RB1?
Yeah, I have him as the RB12 exactly right now. I keep comparing it to Le'Veon Bell, and I think these two are very similar in terms of their body types and in terms of their skill sets as well. And Le'Veon Bell in his rookie season, he finished as the RB8. He averaged over 16.8 PPR points per game, and he had 289 touches in 13 games. And I think Najee Harris could at least replicate the volume in terms of the touches, and the fantasy points should follow.
I agree with you. I'm very high on Najee this year. I like your start with Barkley and Najee. Had a couple of receivers go off the board with Mr. Metcalf. Doc taking AJ Brown.
You know, my team is my team is the NFC South, which is kind of or the AFC South, which is the worst football or division in football.
Alex, you started, of course, with CMC, which obviously, but then you went Waller and Swift. So talk about your last two picks. And your Doc, you're a bitch, Doc. Okay, go ahead, Alex.
Hey, we don't cuss on the pod, David.
Wow.
So with Waller, I mean, I think getting that advantage at tight end over everybody else, over whoever the worst starter is, I think is huge. I love Waller. And Swift, I mean, I got to shout out DF Beancounter and Ron Stewart. Those guys had two of the best threads I've ever seen on DeAndre Swift. I did not like him before I read those, but if you haven't read them, go check them out because they will change your life on Swift. I am all in on him for this year. I wouldn't be shocked if he's a top 5 running back. I don't have him ranked there. That's my hot take.
No, I like it. I mean, I have Swift in my Scott Fishbowl league, or in the Scott Fishbowl team. Swift obviously is expected to take a big leap in year 2. He's got Anthony Lynn, who's had a great history with running backs. CMC and Swift as your RBs. You got Waller. So you got advantages at some positions here. I'll be interested to see when you go with your wide receivers or if you load up on running backs as your strategy plays out here. We've had Clyde, of course, go off. Mahomes, Ridley, Mixon, Gaskin, Antonio Gibson.
Big run on running backs this round. Good
Now
job
it's
stacking up early, David.
Now
it's been a run on running backs the whole draft.
Now it's to your boy, and I think I'm going.
10 seconds left.
I know I'm panicking.
There's not even any skin in the game. This is purely hypothetical.
Wow, David, was that a revenge move for me taking CEH?
No, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna take a high-end tight end here, and get the advantage of that position.
Hashtag 0 wide receiver.
Yeah.
Hashtag 0 entire team, but
We've got Jefferson off the board, Keenan Allen to finish out round 3. Nick, let's go to you. I want to talk about your team. You've got Alvin Kamara, DeAndre Hopkins, and Joe Mixon. Are you a Joe Mixon believer this year?
I am a Joe Mixon believer, and that pick was tough because I really wanted Kittle. I don't remember who said it, but you just have such an advantage over those top tight ends, just over the rest of the field. But we're building, just trying to keep full point PPR in mind. We're just trying to build a team that's going to rack up some points. I mean, just a preview of things to come.
I like it. I mean, again, got some talented players on that squad. Johnny, let's talk about your team. You're 4 rounds in. You got Nick Chubb and, of course, Josh Jacobs. I knew there would be Jacobs on that squad somewhere. And then you've got Devontae Adams and Justin Jefferson. So why don't you talk about Jacobs, who I know you're higher on than most?
I know a lot of people are down on him with the Drake signing, but I said it when we previewed the divisions. You guys can listen to it if you want it really in depth. But I think it's going to be less is more. He's going to get less touches, but he's going to be more efficient, and it's just going to open up the lanes for him to spell him a little bit. He's not going to be getting 30 carries a game anymore, but that'll be a good thing.
Yeah, you said just watching the games as a Raiders fan that you would look at his production and that the more carries he got, the worse he got every game. He's one of those guys that wore out.
And it compounds itself when you do 3 games of 30 carries in a row and stuff like that. So I'm not worried about the offensive line at all. It was everybody who said it was self-destructed. It was a hypothetical line that only played 3 snaps together.
All right. Well, I want to go to Dap Scout now, who just made his 4th round pick. You've got Patrick Mahomes. You've took the first quarterback off the board, and that's still the only quarterback so far. Dalvin Cook fell to 3. You got DK Metcalf, who's got a top 5 ceiling, and then you got Miles Sanders, who's a complete wild card. Were you wanting to take Mahomes? Is that your strategy?
God, no.
Quarterback?
No, man. Like, you guys are just all over the board here. I've been throwing off since the 3rd pick. I just couldn't believe Dalvin Cook was 3rd pick, and after that, I was just like, "What is going on here?" So obviously, everybody here is way smarter than me. I was really going to try to throw a loop at everybody and go like Michael Thomas with my Mahomes pick, but obviously, everybody's had news. Thanks so much, there, David. Honestly, I'm just kind of doing whatever kind of falls. I was going to go Kyle Pitts because obviously he's already a Hall of Famer and they're going to retire his jersey, I believe, in the first game. Again, he got sniped for me, so thanks a lot. And then I got Ridley taken for me, so I've been having a lot of fun so far. This sucks.
You know what's the best part is all these mock drafts. If you can get used to being on the spot, especially if you get sniped and then you have a 30-second clock.
Of course. No, it's fun. Thanks for not letting me pay attention. Thank you.
Guys, I'm just wondering, do you think that I might think about cutting Mike Evans in like week 6 or something?
Oh, I see what you did there.
Mm-hmm.
I see what you did there.
I don't explain it.
Why? Because
we won't get into that right now. We stay out of drama on this pod.
That just fell in my lap. I couldn't pass up that opportunity.
I want to go back to Alex. He's the Deontay Johnson truther. That's his guy that he sticks his neck out for. You made sure you got him in round 5. What's his ceiling this year?
Top 5. He was the wide receiver 7 from week 6 on last year. I don't think top 5 is ridiculous, and I don't think I did a whole article on even if their pass attempts go down because of the games that he missed with injury. The pass attempts and the targets shouldn't be much different. He gets open at a rate as high as anyone in the entire NFL. Shout out to Matt Harmon's reception perception, and he's built just like Antonio Brown. They're 2 pounds different, same height. I don't want to make those kind of comparisons, but this man gets open better than anyone else in the league, and I wouldn't be shocked if he's a top 5 receiver this year. But I have him ranked around 14.
Okay, I'm very high on Deontay Johnson as well. I have him as the best wide receiver, obviously, for the Steelers. People are talking about which one you should draft at their ADPs. I think Deontay Johnson is worth the little extra it costs in that offense. I would love to go to FF Chalupa Batman because he is stacking wide receivers. He's taken Tyreek Hill, Keenan Allen, Allen Robinson, Cooper Kupp, and Tyler Lockett. He is really building up there. So I'm deciding if I want to go another wide receiver. Do I want to take my QB1 here? Or do I, you know what?
I'm sorry, is this best ball? Because if not, then Tyler Lockett shouldn't even be on this draft board, man. I mean, come on now.
Wow.
We're going to go Jamar Chase here. We're going to go for the upside of Jamar Chase. And I want to let's talk about Joey Wright. I want to get your thoughts on your team. You took the best tight end off the board in Travis Kelce. You got Stephon Diggs, who was the number 1 targeted wide receiver in the league last year. Obviously, top 5 wide receiver, I think most are expecting. You got Robert Woods, who's a perfect number 2 complement. And then you got Gibson and Carson. Carson is as steady as they go usually as far as an RB2. And Gibson is a very kind of controversial player. Some have him as a no doubt about it, top 10 back. I have him as RB15 right now. I'm a little lower on him than others. What are your thoughts on Antonio Gibson this year?
Right where you have him is pretty much where I have him. I believe actually I have him at 14. People are worried about him not getting receptions, but I think the work he's going to get just running the ball is going to be fine for him. You did take Aaron Jones from me, which almost said a curse word on your show. But that changed the draft for me. It changed everything the way I was thinking because I figured, okay, Jones is going to fall to me. In the last 24 hours, he keeps going earlier and earlier. So I had to go Diggs there. But I'm kind of liking the way my
Oh,
team's
Michael
shaping up.
Thomas
Oh, we have the first auto draft.
panicked.
Poor Dak.
And I don't usually take a Mr. Wait on quarterback. I pretty much plant my flag on that. But when Dak Prescott's sixth quarterback off the board, I have to smash that.
It's a great value for him there, and it hurts me that I just saw Alex take Jerry Jeudy.
Amazing.
So I was hoping he was going to fall another round to me, but
Moving.
you do what you can. You have to adjust. I'm interested, Doc. I want to go back to you, Kenny Galladay. You got him in the 7th round. What are your expectations for Kenny Galladay this year?
Well, he's probably going to miss some games, which is why he's my wide receiver 3. But the Giants spent a lot of money in free agency, and I think with them easing Saquon in, that they're really going to put it on Daniel Jones to see if he's the franchise quarterback moving forward. He's going to be a weapon for them in the red zone. I don't think they'll be able to double him because they still have Sterling Shepard. They have Evan Ingram. Obviously, if Saquon does come back, he'll garner some of the attention. So I expect probably 5 or 6 good games from him, and you won't know which ones they're coming. So you just start him every week, and he's that boom or bust. He's the NFC East Tyler Lockett.
NFC Tyler Lockett. Okay. All right. We had round 7 is Jalen Hurts, Kenny Galladay, T. Higgins, Travis Etienne, Devonta Smith, Adam Thielen, Mike Davis, and I am on the clock. And who am I drafting? Is he still there? Is he still there? Is he still there? I'm panicking. Is he still there?
Why don't you just say his name? It's not like anybody's picking.
I'm looking for him right now.
Oh, he's panicking.
Holy
4
crap!
seconds.
You're about to
Two.
auto draft.
Time.
Oh, David Otto got him.
It's way to confuse you.
I got him just in time. Whew. Javonte
Nice.
Williams.
David, it was the second running back. You could have just clicked running back.
No, I would.
Come join me with Michael Thomas. Come auto pick with me.
Do you think Chalupa Batman takes another wide receiver?
I specifically chose James Robinson just to push down another running back so he had less options.
I hope he goes like 0 QB tight end and just running back.
He went Raheem Mostert to get his second running back, and then he took his quarterback Justin Herbert, who I was going to potentially take. I'm very low on Justin Herbert this year. I have him as QB 11, which upsets all of fantasy Twitter. I get it, but I have I basically have some stats why I think he is going to regress some. Keep in mind he was QB 9 last year with all the success he did have, so. It's not a huge regression by any means if you're looking just at his finish here. Am I going to keep waiting on a quarterback? That's the question. Yeah, you know what? We'll get our quarterback here. We'll get A-Rod. All right. So we're in round 8 now. Finishing out round 7 was Javonte Williams, James Robinson, Raheem Mostert. And then we started round 8 with Justin Herbert, DJ Chark, Aaron Rodgers, Chase Claypool, and Deebo Samuel. Joe, I want to go back to you, and this isn't a pick that you made. I'm just curious. John decided to go DJ Chark. What is the rank for the Jags pass catchers for you? Do you have it as Chark, Shenault, Jones, or a different order? What's your order for those guys?
Chark, Shenault, Jones. Yes.
Chark,
That'd be
Shenault,
the order
Jones.
I have them in. I am terrified of the Jaguars offense this year, though. And I'm not terrified. Like, I'm not hiding in my room away from it or anything. I mean, I'm very close to Jacksonville. I don't know what Urban Meyer's going to do. I really don't. I mean, him taking ETN in the draft, I was just like, okay, threw the papers in the air. Have no idea what's going on. But that would be the order I would take them in. But if there are 2 players I'm deciding between, and one of them is a Jaguars receiver, and I've got him pretty close, I'm probably going with the other player.
Do you have over or under 4,000 yards for Travis or for Lawrence?
I need right at 4,000 probably.
Okay.
17 games, he could walk into it.
That's
Yeah,
true.
that's true.
There's the extra
That
game.
17th game.
Now, Nick, I want to go to you. You took Chase Edmonds. So first, what was your process for taking Edmonds? Do you think he's definitely the 1A over Connor? And then, Doc, are you hurting because Chase Edmonds didn't fall to you?
I love him. I mean, just thinking back last year when he'd get in the game, I mean, it was just different. Like, he's explosive. He runs really well. Now, here's a pick that you're going to love, David. My guy.
Mike Gesicki
Ooh.
getting his
Love him.
tight end.
I mean, I've been high on him for 2-3 years. I mean, really since he started like getting reps. But no, we're feeling good. I don't know how you guys are letting everyone fall to me. I mean, this is unbelievable. Justin Tucker, holy smokes!
That's right.
Justin Tucker off
Run
the
on
board.
kickers. Let it start.
It's Doc not taking the first.
Yeah,
pick,
let it
which is
start. Let's go.
surprising.
So here's my thing: is I really liked Chase Edmonds last year, but now that he's getting a lot of hype, I feel like I have to back off a little bit.
Yeah, he is getting risen up draft boards here. I do want to
Classic
actually.
Eric just trying to be a contrarian.
I gotta go
No,
to.
like-
I gotta
like,
go to John with
I'll have to-
Jon. The
Chase
Jon
Edmonds-
John. Real. Go ahead, Doc.
I was gonna say Chase Edmonds is a 15 to 18 touch per game to maximize his efficiency. I don't think he can handle 20 touches, and I think that's what everybody's drafting him as. Because I don't know. I think Arizona throws a lot. I think that's why they got AJ Green. They still have Christian Kirk, DeAndre Hopkins.
So, John, I want to go to you as I make my pick here. You took Michael Carter, and again, did not slip an extra round like I was hoping. Did you take him knowing that I would have taken him in the next round?
Yeah, I actually took ETN hoping that Carter would make it back to me. And then when he did, I was like, well, I don't want to risk him not making it back to me the next round. So let me just take him now. Obviously I know you're high on Carter. I've been high on Carter for a while. I know obviously everyone knows I'm a Jets fan, but I've been a huge fan of Carter since before the Jets ever drafted him. Sorry, I'm trying to make my pick
No, you could
sit here. Oh yeah, my guy. All right, let's go.
Oh, good pick.
Your guy, Ryan Tannehill.
No, seriously, I'm actually really high on Ryan Tannehill this year. I think that he could him going as QB 11 when he gets an upgrade from Corey Davis to Julio Jones, and the efficiency should just go up when you consider for Derrick Henry at least. And I just think that this offense is going to be really hard to stop, and Ryan Tannehill is just going to be the main beneficiary of that. But back to the point on Carter, I'm really high on Carter. I had him as my RB5 going into just even pre-draft. I was surprised he made it past the third round, and when the Jets scooped him up at 107, I couldn't be happier. And so definitely think he brings an added element from not just a speed element that the Jets didn't have at the running back position, but also a player that can catch the football out of the backfield. I think he does all of that. And when you're looking for a running back at this point in the draft, you're looking for someone that has that pass catching ability that could eventually lead to a 3-down role.
I like it. Brad, I want to go to you now. As Dap was auto-picked again. My timer goes fast. Brad, you took the first kicker, Justin Tucker, in round 9, and then you took the first defense in Washington D in round 10. 2 rounds early before the last 2 picks here. People usually, I'm not one of them, but there's definitely a lot of fantasy Twitter that does not believe taking those until your last 2 picks. Why did you take them earlier?
Yeah, my general strategy is to kind of always go towards scarcity. So typically for my first 3 or 4 picks, I'll take running backs, and then I'll go to tight ends after that. And then from there, my strategy is always to fill out my lineup with, my starting lineup with the best picks available in my mind. So even if there's, a great running back or wide receiver left for me for depth, if I think that there's going to be scarcity at like a defensive position or, kicker, which there generally is, I'll go ahead and take it early.
Okay, well, I like it. And with it being 12 rounds, the 11th and 12th mostly need to be used unless you're going to drop somebody off the waiver wire. It is only 12 rounds, so it's going to be a starting lineup, and I believe it's only 1 or 2 bench spots. So that is a very thin league. You got to be smart. It was talked about to keep this league. I don't know if we will, but
God, please don't.
Dav, I got to go to your team. I know you were auto-picked on 2 of them.
Oh, no, David, you got to see who I just picked.
Zay Jones!
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
wow.
good. I'm glad Zay Jones was able to make an appearance on this pod. We
Oh,
love
yeah.
Zay Jones here.
Zay Jones.
Friend of the pod.
But go ahead, Dap. You got you have your receivers as Metcalf, Cooper, Michael Thomas was auto-picked, T. Higgins, Cortland Sutton, Juju. You have 3 running backs: Dalvin Cook, Miles Sanders, and Ronald Jones. Your tight end is Robert Tonyan, and then your quarterback, of course, like I said, Pat Mahomes. Go ahead.
Yes.
What do you think?
So Robert Tonyan will not be my starter. I'd much rather go with the guy I'm going to pick here in a second here. Hopefully, whenever he comes around, I'll just deal with whatever comes up with the other fun that I'm going to have here. But no, I'm definitely happy with the first parts of my team. Right, I'm going to be totally fine with Troutman because he's going to feast, and obviously he's better than Tunyon. I mean, after the first 3 tight ends, it's just all whatever at that point. But I mean, I don't understand how people are so off on Juju. I mean, it's not like the guy just fell off the face of the earth. I mean, he's not Todd Gurley, for goodness sakes. Michael Thomas, it hurts me. But in T. Higgins, I wasn't exactly. I was really wanting. It was a hard decision there. I feel okay with a lot of this stuff, but honestly, I was really hoping to get a couple more, sleeper pieces. But this is a tough room. You guys are getting all the parts that I was like, man, I'm going to get this guy and just show off. But no, some of those guys went off early.
No, I mean, it is a tough room, 10-team league, so there's a lot of talent, but it's also a lot of decisions you got to make too. That's, I think, people sometimes, they'll poop on if you play 10-team leagues, but it's a lot more strategy in a sense because there's a lot more players to choose from on your bench to start in the free agent wire. So it adds another element there. I want to go back to Alex. Your team that you drafted, you have Jalen Hurts at quarterback. Your QB1, you made sure you got Jalen Hurts. You got Christian McCaffrey, DeAndre Swift. You got also Zach Moss, who people are still believing in Zach Moss, but it's a good depth piece for you. You went heavy on wide receiver. You got Julio Jones, Deontay Johnson, Jerry Jeudy, Will Fuller, Robbie Anderson. And then we won't talk about kickers and defenses. But I want to go to Jalen Hurts. Why is he your QB1?
Okay, well, my flag plant is he's going to be the QB1. That's like a super, super, super bold prediction. I have him ranked 6th for me in actual QBs, but I just think the rushing upside is unlimited. I think year after year, like we saw with the Godwin and Ridley had fit that exact same mold, and those players seem to break out. And I'm following the second-year QB that ends up being the QB1 mold of going Lamar 1 year, Kyler another year, and then Jalen Hurts this year. And I know the same year with Lamar, they're like his weapons. But we saw him be the QB3 last year over his 3 full starts. I mean, you can doubt him all you want, but just because of the rushing upside at the end of the day, I think I'm going to back that. And Ian Hartitz did a study, the last thing I'll say, that it was 67% of QBs that average at least 4.5 rushing attempts a game finishes a top 8 QB in fantasy points per game. And so if he's averaging 11 like he did last year, anything close to that, I think he's a surefire top 8 QB, but a potential to really hit super high.
I like that.
No, I do. I mean, he's the ultimate boomer bust guy, and you're getting him as right now a borderline.
Is he though?
10
I feel like we've never really seen him bust.
I think
it's always boom.
What rushing quarterback is busted besides Cam Newton last year, who was still the QB 15 with those weapons?
12 touchdowns for Cam Newton.
Okay. You're right. I should definitely rephrase that. I think with the chance,
guy Cam Newton.
I think there's
always
the chance that he obviously, if the Eagles aren't sold on him, people were talking about how Deshaun Watson might go there. So you have to wonder Eagles long term believe in him, and obviously you have to wonder, of course, throughout a whole season. A rushing quarterback, the injury risk
is he going to get hurt? Right. Yeah.
So there is, and then obviously he's also a very controversial player because Alex, you have him at 1, and then some people have him outside the top 12. He might have the most variance in terms of where he's ranked than any other quarterback as well. So
yeah, that's fair.
But I do definitely your reasoning backs up, what you think he could be the QB1, and I definitely don't knock that for sure. Let's go to Doc. Let's go to your team. You drafted Lamar Jackson as your quarterback. You got Jonathan Taylor and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I love that running back tandem. Darrell Henderson and Trey Sermon, 2 upside plays to back them up. And then you have Mike Evans, Kenny Golladay, and that's it. Oh, and I'm sorry, AJ Brown.
Imagine picking a backup quarterback on a mock draft.
What
a boring pick.
Imagine taking Josh Jacobs in the 4th round.
So, Doc, I'm not a fan of your receivers outside AJ Brown. I think that's pretty trashy, but I love your running backs. You have a high upside quarterback in Lamar Jackson. Explain your draft process here to the audience.
Yeah, so the number 2 pick, I think Jonathan Taylor gets a lot of volume from what we saw his last 6 games. I think he's the gold line back, and I think there's an upgrade at quarterback, which is going to help. AJ Brown, I think good value, and wide receivers were going pretty quick. CEH, you've done a breakdown video of why. Lamar, I actually think, has a very good chance of finishing QB1. He's in a contract year. They upgraded his weapons at wide receiver. I know he had a slow start to the year last year, but finished pretty well. Darrell Henderson, I liked the value in 6th round. And Mike Evans and Kenny Golladay, look, they're tall receivers. They're boom bust. TJ Hawkinson's going to get the volume. And Trey Sermon, I don't think is going to play right away, but I do think week 5, week 6, he'll be the starter, which is why I went running back heavy, because I think I can afford to have him on my bench.
Yeah, I mean, Trey Sermon could be a league winner if if something happens to Raheem Mostert and he gets most of the work. In that system, almost any running back seems to succeed. So if he's getting the work, it'd be a great value there. Let's go to JON, John, Mr. JR Football Nerd. Saquon and Najee to start. Calvin Ridley, who I know Brad, I'm sure, was very upset that it didn't make it back to him in the third round. It's his wide receiver 1 this year. You also went Kyle Pitts, his teammate, so you're all in on the Atlanta passing attack. You get some high upside wide receivers, CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Ayuk, followed by some rookies that have some high ceilings in Travis Etienne and Michael Carter, Tyler Boyd and Mike Williams as some good bench depth pieces, Naheem Hines, and Ryan Tannehill is your quarterback, who we know Ryan Tannehill is one of the most efficient quarterbacks, a top 5 quarterback, actually statistically, as long as he's had A.J. Brown healthy. So explain your draft process, John. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, I mean, like I talked off the top, I'm not nervous about Saquon Barkley. I think everyone is so high on this Giants offense, but why are we so low on the best player in it? So I'm going to continue to take Saquon Barkley, who I have him as the RB2. I'll continue to take him wherever he falls to me out after that. Najee Harris, I already talked about that. Calvin Ridley, I wasn't even prepared to take him. I was going to go. I would prefer to go like a running back here. I was really hoping DeAndre Swift made it to me here because I'm all over him in PPR leagues. But Calvin Ridley went off the board as wide receiver 6 or 7. Yeah, wide receiver 7, and he's easily a top 3 wide receiver. So that was more just about price there. And then Kyle Pitts. I mean, got him at tight end 5. I do have him at 4. I think yes, that is considering his ceiling, but I think that also you have to factor in that the floor for the Atlanta tight end is probably higher than most tight end groups around the league when you consider how often Matt Ryan utilizes the tight end. CeeDee Lamb, I mean, to get him as my wide receiver 2, I would have been glad with him as my 1. And then to get Ayuk as my 3, who I'm all over Brandon Ayuk. I mean, I think his ADP right now, according to 4for4.com, is like wide receiver 25. I think that he's a wide receiver 1. I've got him ranked at like 14. So I'm all over him. And then we talked about Michael Carter, but ETN to me, I mean, I obviously I think it might have been Joey talking about concerns about the Jags, and I completely understand those, but ETN probably seems like the safest guy because his role, I mean, it's a projection, but you assume that it's going to come with a lot of receptions and he'll be a PPR machine. And then the last 2 guys I want to talk about, Tyler Boyd and Mike Williams. Tyler Boyd, to me, he's a starter in PPR leagues. He's going to have 1,000 yards, 100 catches and 1,000 yards. You could pretty much lock him in for that. The touchdowns won't be there, but he'll be a weekly option in PPR leagues. And the Mike Williams, I think with Justin Herbert, I know, Mendy, you're not high on him, and you're not as high on him. You think there's some regression there, but I think Mike Williams with Hunter Henry being out and potentially more of passing volume from this Chargers offense, I think, last year they ran a lot. They were one of the highest running teams in the league, even though they were one of the worst run teams in the league. And I think you have a coaching staff that's going to come in here, realize that Justin Herbert is the guy. He's a legitimate NFL quarterback, and that passing volume should go up as a result, especially with Joe Lombardi coming in as the new OC from New Orleans. But after that, I'm all in on my drafts. If you're out there and you're listening, if your league settings allow you to not draft a kicker or a defense, I highly suggest it, especially if you're drafting early, because I'm like, you could get a guy like, I don't know, I'm just going to throw a guy out there, Trey Sermon, right? Let's say Raheem Mostert. I mean, obviously Trey Sermon's not going late, but one of these guys that could go late and then a running back gets hurt, like we saw a few years ago with Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt was going like undrafted, or like I got him in the 15th round of some leagues, and the starter got hurt at the time. I think Spencer Ware, and Kareem Hunt became a free lottery ticket, a potential league winner. So don't waste your spot. I mean, I understand some of the strategies involved, but the probability, there's higher upside in some of these other players.
All right, I like it. And I will say, just for the Justin Herbert note, I'm a little lower on him just because he with the 4th most pass attempts in the league last year. And I expect with a healthy Eckler, with a better defense, that they're going to probably have less chances in there. So he has to be more efficient for him to be a better quarterback. And I think he is a good NFL quarterback. I'm just questioning that if he was the QB9 with the 4th most pass attempts in the league and pretty much a lot of negative game scripts as far as them having to keep airing the ball out, that's the part where I'm a little bit more skeptical of him being as high as he is. But you also got him at a pretty good value there. Nick, I want to go to you. Alvin Kamara, Joe Mixon, J.K. Dobbins. Of course, Nick's a Ravens fan, so he got his Ravens guy there. Chase Edmonds. You got DeAndre Hopkins, Chris Godwin, Devonta Smith, the rookie, and Jalen Waddle, another rookie. You got your guy Mike Gesicki at tight end, and you got Russell Wilson as your QB. Talk to us about your team a little bit.
No, I feel good. I think I incorrectly assumed that I had to fill up all those requirements here. Otherwise, probably wouldn't have gone defense and kicker. But
right
up until that point, it's also different. I don't play a lot of full point PPR, so I had to kind of put it in my head like Kamara and Hopkins, they just get targets nonstop. So I felt really good about that. Honestly, in this entire draft, the only pick that I really don't like is Mixon. Like I just I can never get comfortable having him on my team. I think this year will be a little bit different because love Joe Burrow. I think he's got weapons to throw to. That offensive line is not good, obviously. So we'll see. I mean, he'll still put up numbers, but a guy I really like, being completely biased, is J.K. Dobbins, especially with an extra game. I mean, there's no way he doesn't break 1,000 rushing yards, even with there being so much competition. That's just a really, really strong rushing team, especially with the boosted O-line. Then throughout there, I just went high upside. I like Godwin. Russell Wilson, I did that for you, David. I know you're real high on him. And then, with Devontae Smith, that, Edmonds, Jalen Waddle, those are all more honestly, for the purpose of this, just kind of gut picks. I love watching those guys play. Obviously, no repercussions here, but at the various levels they played at last year, I mean, there were problems every single time they stepped on the field, obviously in a good way. So I'm willing to make that gamble, just considering the depth I have from the earlier draft picks, and we're feeling really good.
I like it. I like when Nick feels good. Everything's better when Nick.
That's right. That's right.
Brad, let's go to your team. You were the only team to start out with 3 straight running backs. You went Zeke, Montgomery, and Gaskin, and that's a normal draft strategy I know that you like to do. You went Mark Andrews and then Kyler Murray, and then you didn't take your first wide receiver until round 6, where you went Odell, Adam Thielen, and Deebo Samuel. Then you ended up taking Leonard Fournette in the last round. Talk to us about your process. I know you're a big 3 running back guy. Kyler Murray, you wanted him to use your QB1 last year when people had him closer to the back end of the top 10. So you were right on that call. Use your QB1 this year. Talk to us about your process a little bit.
I actually have important breaking news. I just found out that PBS has canceled the hit show Arthur.
What?
How do you guys feel about that?
You're lying.
That's tough.
How can you cancel Arthur?
After 25 years. That's absurd.
I'm Arthur's fist memeing right now.
Having fun isn't hard when you've got a library card.
That's right.
Read all those old seasons.
Wow.
Jeez, that's wild.
I'm almost too depressed to talk about my lineups. You said most of it, Dave. My strategy is pretty much all about scarcity. I think running backs are hard to come by, starting running backs, that is, workhorse running backs. So I try to get that early because, the NFL has a 100% injury rate. There's a good chance that one of your starting running backs that you drafted is going to go down. And when that happens, there's a lot of scrambling, trying to get guys on the waiver wire. That's not something I like to do. So I go running backs early, and then after that, I'll go tight end, because if you don't have a top 5 or 6 tight end, you're pretty much on the waiver wire every week. So after that, normally there's a good selection of QBs to go after, and that's where the bulk of your points is going to come from. So I try to get my guy there. I like Kyler Murray a lot. I like, there's probably a handful of 10 guys that I think, you'd be comfortable in starting with every week. And then after that, it's kind of a scramble just to fill out my roster. And I tend to go wide receiver or best player available. And that kind of got me to Odell, Thielen, and Samuel. And then, from there I went defense and kicker.
All right. And Joey, let's go to your team. You have the tight end advantage over everybody with Travis Kelce. Dak Prescott, who could be the QB1. There's a member of Triple Play named Kevin Coleman who's very sold on him being the QB1. You got Gibson, Carson, Mike Davis heading your running backs there. And then you've got a lot of upside plays after your Diggs and Woods combo. You've got Claypool, Curtis Samuel, and then you have, is that Amani Brown Antonio Brown.
That's Antonio Brown, yeah.
There we go. There's so many A Browns out there. I decided to look. Then I saw it was Tampa Bay. Okay.
Yeah.
So talk to us about your team. Again, I like your quarterback. Running backs are solid. You've got I think you might have the most sound team. Like, it's a very nice floor that your team gives you.
I appreciate it. I just really want to talk about my kicker. No, I'm kidding. I only took a kicker in defense because I thought I was supposed to.
Yeah, I think they technically are roster requirements if we kept this league.
No, so as I was watching the draft unfold in the first round, when I saw 4 running backs go right away, which is pretty typical, I moved Kelsey up in my queue because I was like, well, it's a 10-team league, so players that are normally there in a 12-team league are going to fall to me, which I was almost right about. So I took Kelsey at 7, and I was hoping Jones or Eckler would fall to me at the, 204. It didn't happen, so I went Diggs. And then from there, I just had to pivot and build a team, and then took Gibson and Carson, which are both top 15 running backs for me. But I have a top 12 receiver in Robert Woods in my rankings, my quarterback 3 in Prescott. So I really like my core there. Took Mike Davis to back up those running backs because running backs go down. I think it was Bradley that said that. By the way, Bradley, if you ever want to read some poetry and get it like recorded for me, I'd really appreciate that. So,
you got it.
I thought he was going to give a poetry recommendation.
Oh, no. Listen. Every night, my wife and I, we read poetry to each other before we go to bed. No,
oh, wow.
That's beautiful.
That's wonderful.
I'm really upset about Arthur. I have to go break that news to a 4-year-old now. So,
oh my God.
You guys are
so
upset
sorry,
for
man.
you, but try to tell him to a kid now.
We'll have her write a sonnet about our feelings.
I will.
John, real quick, if you want to just tell us, obviously you have Josh Allen, of course, Josh Jacobs made your squad, Nick Chubb and James Robinson. You got Devonta Adams, Justin Jefferson, studs at the wide receiver position. In 60 seconds or less, how do you feel about your team?
I feel really good. The only pick I don't feel that good about was James Robinson, was just to mess with Chalupa Batman and pick up running back.
I love it. Chalupa Batman.
I feel the best about the Zay Jones. Everybody loves Zaymond.
Yes. Everybody loves Damon. Made sure he got him with his last pick. FF Chalupa Batman went 5 wide receivers after his first pick of Derrick Henry, and then ended up getting David Johnson and Raheem Mostert to get his running backs in there. Took Justin Herbert. My team, Eckler, Aaron Jones, George Kittle. I took 3 straight wide receivers in McLaurin, DJ Moore, Jamar Chase, and then got a couple high upside running backs, Javonte Williams, Damian Harris, Aaron Rodgers is there. Interesting team. I'm pretty happy actually how it turned out, but it's a mock draft, so it's all for experimentation. We all love just dabbling in and getting used to the draft season.
You make it sound like we're on drugs, David. It's experimentation. We're dabbling in. What are you trying to tell us?
Mock drafting is kind of like a drug. It's like you want to keep doing it, right? There's why it's all those best ball drafts. So, all right. Well, on that note, I want to make sure we can get everybody out of here, and really appreciate all you guys joining us because it was an absolute blast to have this whole star-studded crew on the show today. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Nick Loisel, since you're the first one on the screen up top there. Anything you would like the audience to know about you, your Twitter handle, or anything you got going on?
Keep listening to the pod. Represent.
Look at that.
Let's keep doing it. Yeah, a little shout out.
I love
I haven't
it.
seen $1 of that merch money, Nick.
That's right. I'll keep buying, dude. I'll keep buying.
Nick,
Appreciate it.
pleasure to have on the show. It was absolute blast having you. What about you, Mr. Dap Scout, Mr. JP, making your pod appearance? What do you got to people to know about you?
Yeah, I mean, please subscribe to my, pay per, word, Patreon account where I do thighs and calves. It's my special scouting for running backs. I only look at thighs and calf widths.
Love it.
And diameters, and so it goes back a while, and it's definitely the best way to draft running backs and tight ends.
Put that
like
on
it.
OnlyFans, man, not Patreon.
Yeah.
Well, I used to have an OnlyFans, but of course my DJ left me, Brad, with his voice that sounds so incredibly alluring.
Nick, you didn't give your where's your Twitter at? What can people follow you at?
My longest Yale boy at N_Loisel.
Yeah, best Twitter handle in the game. And Dap Scout, you're just at Dap Scout, right?
That's correct.
All right, good. What about you, Alex Caruso, the best up-and-coming host in the game? Where can they find you and your pod?
You can find me at Alex Caruso on Twitter, straight up on that. You can follow me at fresh_fantasy on TikTok. You can find me at the Fresh Fantasy Podcast on any podcast platform. New episode coming out tomorrow with the talented and wonderful Stefania Bell. You should all tune in, but this is a great mock draft. Really great group of people, and I'm just happy to be among you guys. So thank you so much.
Happy to have you. And it was kind of just picking guys I liked all over the place, but everybody gelled together. I think this was pretty nice. This was I wish we all were in the same room drinking a beer together, maybe in the future. Joey Wright, my man, why don't you tell everybody what you got going on? You got a lot of stuff going on.
Well, yeah. So I'm at the Joey Wright on Twitter. You can find my writing at Rasball. I had an article go up today about early scheduled quarterbacks, who to target, who to kind of fade away from. I'm a fantasy pros. I got my rankings up there. And if you like pro wrestling, Wrestling Mat podcast, I'm on there talking about pro wrestling. So, but yeah, so football is the main thing, but yeah, have fun with the wrestling stuff. So, but thank you so much for having me on. I had a blast. A lot of these Twitter handles I'd seen and interacted with a few of them, but to actually get to see the faces is really cool.
Yeah. And I got to up my wrestling game. So I might need to pick your brain a little bit. Do they have DFS for wrestling?
No. So I pitched that to AEW. It's this new promotion. They're on TNT now. I actually sent their marketing department like a pitch, and I didn't hear anything back, but
all right. Well, I'm sending them an email.
I don't think you're allowed to gamble on something that is like choreographed.
No.
I'm mocking it as like an entertainment thing. I'm just saying you can't let gambling happen on something where they know the result.
Yeah, so they do put WrestleMania lines up.
Do they?
And then it's very funny because about 30 minutes before it starts, you see the line start moving, and then you know who's going to win all the match.
Yeah.
It's definitely McMahon family behind the scenes, definitely taking some money by moving those lines.
Oh man. What about you, Mr. John June? One of the best guys in the game, one of the nicest guys in the game. Can you tell everybody what you got going on?
Appreciate that, Mendy. I mean, look, this was awesome. I appreciate you guys having me on, get with this group of characters here, man, and analysts, and hear all the great takes. That's been great. But in terms of me and my work, at JR Football Nerd, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Fantasy Football Diagnostics podcast just recently launched on YouTube as well. So right now we're one show a week. In August will be 2 shows a week, and then September will be 4 shows a week. Now we have Liftoff New York Jets podcast. That's a Jets podcast. If you happen to be a Jets fan, or you just want to hear that much about the Jets and what they got going on, that you want to go listen to it, check that out. We're also on YouTube. But probably the most important thing I got cooking right now, Fantasy for Unity. It's a fantasy football tournament, a charity tournament. We call it the Unity Bowl. Basically, all you have to do is donate $20 to one of 3 pre-selected organizations, the ACLU, the Conscious Kid, or the Equal Justice Initiative. You send that receipt via DM or an email to Fantasy for Unity. We have a Twitter page and an Instagram account, and we'll get you entered into the tournament. It's a 12 team. There'll be multiple leagues, but we're going to try to get a large field tournament, but basically PPR league, and we're going to crown a champion at the end of it, and all of it's going to a great cause. So if you're interested in that, or even if you got a lot of fantasy teams you just want to donate, definitely appreciate you checking that out.
Yeah, and when you put that out, we'll make sure our account tweets it out and gets it out there so other people can see it as well. I love that, and it's definitely sounds like it's for an amazing cause, and I love when you can tie fantasy football and charity together. So that's awesome stuff that you're doing right there. But everybody, again, appreciate you guys coming on. We definitely got to get out of here so the Super Fantasy Bros can record. Make sure you stick around next week. We'll be starting our rankings episode, starting with quarterbacks, joined by somebody that I do not know yet. I'll be reaching out, figuring out who will come on. But it'll be a fun
Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, no, don't spoil it. You can't spoil it. I got to keep it under wraps. But until then, everybody be safe. Go draft the best ball, and we're going to make like a bread truck and haul these buns. Catch you guys in the next one.